Deep in Vietnam's tropical jungles, there are wings so rare, most people never see them twice. And out here, one wrong move means life or death in a single heartbeat. Today, we journey into one of Asia's last true wildernesses, where color becomes camouflage, sound becomes survival, and 20 of the rarest birds on Earth fight to stay alive. From pheasants on the brink of extinction to pittas glowing like rainforest jewels. These are Vietnam's hidden wings, the ones even scientists struggle to find. But every season, their world tightens, forests shrink, water dries, predators move closer, and for some, like the legendary Edwards pheasant, this may be their final generation. So take a breath, steady your senses, and follow me into the jungle, because Vietnam is about to reveal 20 miracles with feathers, and every one of them carries a story worth fighting for. You ever meet a bird that looks like it escaped from a fantasy video game, but somehow still acts like a confused tourist? That's the Verditer flycatcher, the bluest thing in Vietnam's jungle that isn't a gemstone. I mean, look at it. That electric turquoise glow isn't normal blue. Did someone accidentally turn up the saturation? Blue. But here's the wild part. This bird doesn't even try to hide. It just sits there, glowing like a neon sign in the middle of a rainforest. You'd think predators would spot it instantly. But maybe that's the point. Maybe confidence really is a survival strategy. Now picture this. A small, lightweight bird perched alone on a mossy branch, staring down the entire forest like it's thinking, "Go ahead, underestimate me." And the moment a bug dares to fly by, boom, it launches, not gracefully, more like a tiny missile with attitude. It catches insects mid-air with these sharp little turns that make you wonder. Is it hunting or is it just showing off? Honestly, probably both. Here's something fun. The Verditer flycatcher is strangely chill with humans. In Vietnam's mountains, hikers sometimes find it sitting just a few feet away, watching them like a nosy neighbor. And you can almost hear the internal dialogue. "Oh, you again. Do something interesting." So let me ask you, if you found a bird this pretty staring at you in silence, would you feel blessed or judged? Because I guarantee it feels like judgment. But the twist? For all its color and confidence, this bird is unbelievably lightweight. So lightweight, in fact, that a sudden gust of wind can shove it sideways like Mother Nature just slapped it for fun. Imagine being gorgeous, fast and bold, and still getting bullied by a breeze. Kind of humbling, right? And here's your debate moment. Is the Verditer flycatcher a fearless performer strutting its neon feathers across the treetops? Or just a tiny drama king pretending to be a rainforest celebrity? I know what I think, but I want to hear your take. Drop it in the comments and be honest. Because if you think this electric blue show-off is impressive, wait until you meet the next bird. It brings color, chaos, and teamwork in ways this little diva could never compete with. You ever see a bird that looks small, cute, harmless, and then realize it's actually the loudest gossip reporter in the entire forest? That's the blue-winged minla, Vietnam's tiny, fast-talking drama machine. At first glance, it feels adorable. Soft, buff chest, bright blue wings, a face that practically says, "Hi, I know everything about everyone." And trust me, it does. This bird doesn't travel alone. Oh no, it refuses to be lonely. A single minla means 10 more are coming, hopping, fluttering, chirping, arguing, like a jungle group chat that never turns off. One moment they're hunting insects, the next they're chasing each other in circles for absolutely no reason. And you can't help but wonder, is this teamwork or is this chaos? Here's the thing that surprises most people. These birds move through the forest in perfectly coordinated waves, all rising and diving at the same moment, like a feathery orchestra following some invisible conductor. And for such tiny bodies, they make a ridiculous amount of noise. Not singing, commentating, non-stop. It's like they're narrating the entire jungle. Bug at 3 o'clock, human approaching. Hey, who stole my caterpillar? You listen long enough and you feel like you're eavesdropping on a forest reality show. But here's where the plot twist hits. Minlas are insanely smart. They team up with completely different bird species, forming mixed flocks that sweep the canopy like a moving search party. Think about it. Tiny birds forming alliances. If humans did cooperation this well, we'd probably have solved world peace by now. And get this, despite all the noise, the blue-winged minla is actually nervous. That chatter? It's their way of staying calm. Imagine being so anxious that you talk for 12 hours straight. Kind of relatable, right? So here's your mini debate hook. Is the minla a genius of social strategy? Or just a jittery little chatterbox trying to keep its cool by talking to everyone? Because honestly, both answers feel correct. Either way, you can't help loving them. They bring life, energy, and pure personality to the forest. You hear that chorus of squeaks and whistles drifting through the trees, and you instantly know the blue-winged minlas are in town. And trust me, the bird coming up next is a whole different level. Not noisy, not nervous, just rare, dangerously rare. A ghost of Vietnam's deepest jungles. Imagine a bird so rare, most people in Vietnam have never seen it, and many scientists have spent their entire careers chasing just one glimpse. Now imagine that bird dressed like a midnight phantom, deep blue-black feathers, a white crest glowing like moonlight, eyes bright and sharp as embers. That's the Edwards' pheasant, Vietnam's ghost of the jungle, a creature so mysterious. Some believed it had vanished forever. Here's the wild part. This bird doesn't act like a bird on the brink of extinction. Not at all. When it moves through the undergrowth, it walks with this bold, deliberate confidence, like a king inspecting his ruined kingdom. You almost hear it say, "Yes, I know I'm rare. No, I'm not signing autographs today." And the moment you think you've spotted it, it's gone. Not flying, not running, just gone. Like the forest swallowed it whole. This species is critically endangered and endemic to Vietnam, meaning this jungle is the only place on Earth where it exists. Think about that for a second. An entire species depending on a single stretch of forest to survive. And yet, even with that pressure, the Edwards' pheasant refuses to live like a victim. It forages calmly, flicking leaves aside with those powerful legs, searching for seeds and insects with the calm of an animal that knows silence is its greatest shield. But here's the twist. For decades, no one could find it. Surveys, camera traps, field expeditions, nothing. It became a legend, a rumor, a whisper shared between conservationists. Then suddenly, tracks appeared. A feather, a shadow, evidence that the ghost was still alive. And you can feel the emotional punch of that discovery. Like nature leaving a note, "I'm still here, but only just." Now here's your debate moment. Did this bird survive because it's incredibly resilient? Or because the jungle still has pockets humans haven't fully touched? Is the Edwards pheasant a master of hiding? Or simply a survivor of our mistakes? Both answers sting a little, and maybe that's the point. Either way, when you talk about Vietnam's rarest creatures, this bird sits at the top. Regal, elusive, fragile. A reminder that some miracles still walk this earth, even if we barely deserve them. And if you think this ghost-like pheasant is impressive, wait until you meet the next one. A species with beauty, attitude, and a secret nightlife all its own. If the Edwards pheasant is the ghost of Vietnam's jungle, then Germain's peacock pheasant is the magician. Not loud, not flashy, but hypnotic. The kind of bird you see once and spend the rest of your life wondering if it was even real. Imagine a pheasant covered in smoky gray feathers, each marked with tiny metallic eye spots that shimmer like coins catching candlelight. Then add a pair of ruby red facial patches, glowing like someone smudged fire across its cheeks. That's the moment you realize, this bird doesn't need bright colors. It radiates mystery on purpose. What makes it even more interesting is how quietly it moves. While other ground birds stomp around like clumsy dinosaurs, Germain's peacock pheasant drifts across the forest floor. Soft, deliberate, almost floating. You don't hear it until it wants you to. And trust me, it rarely wants you to. This bird is a near-endemic treasure of Vietnam, a species so tied to these forests that seeing one feels like being let into a secret. Here's the twist. For all its elegance, it's a fighter. Males defend territories with surprising aggression, puffing their bodies, fanning those shimmering eye spots, and performing this weird sideways strut that looks like a cross between a martial arts pose and a ballroom dance move. You watch it and think, wait, is this threatening or fabulous? Maybe it's both. Its courtship display is even stranger. When trying to impress a female, the male circles slowly, opens his tail fan just a little, then freezes, staring at her with total seriousness. It's like he's saying, observe the limited edition model, and depending on her mood, she either joins him in a slow, ritualistic walk or ignores him completely. Honestly, it's the most relatable dating behavior in the entire animal kingdom. Now here's your mini debate hook. Is the Germain's peacock-pheasant an underrated beauty because it isn't neon-colored? Or is subtle elegance the real power move in a world full of flashy birds? I know which side I'm on, but you tell me. What we do know is this. Every time a camera trap captures its image, wildlife biologists celebrate, because every sighting means the forest still has magic left, the quiet kind, the ancient kind. And speaking of ancient, the next bird doesn't hide in shadows, it steps into the sunlight wearing a crown of emerald fire. If birds had royalty, the green peafowl wouldn't just be the king. It would be the entire royal family, the palace, and the crown jewels combined. This bird doesn't walk into the jungle, it enters like the forest is its personal red carpet. And honestly, can you blame it? That shimmering emerald plumage, those bronze gold scales, that impossibly long train of iridescent eye spots. It's like evolution said, let's make one bird absurdly gorgeous, just because. But here's the thing people never expect. The green peafowl is dangerously rare now. Once spread across Southeast Asia, now Vietnam holds some of the last strongholds of the species. And yet, it still behaves like it owns the place. You see a male step out into a clearing, head high, crest sharp, shimmering from neck to tail, and you think, yep, that's confidence. Borderline disrespectful confidence. And the sound it makes, not delicate, not musical. No, it screams. Loud, echoing jungle blasts that sound like a warrior calling out across a battlefield. That elegant, jewel-encrusted bird, it yells like it's starting a revolution, and somehow, the contrast makes it even cooler. Now picture this, early morning light, mist lifting off a river, and this peafowl stepping slowly through grass so tall, it brushes its feathers. Each movement flashes a different color. Emerald, sapphire, gold, bronze. You swear it's glowing from the inside. And just when you think it can't get more dramatic, it lifts its tail and fans it wide. A full halo of living color. A visual flex so powerful other animals literally stop and stare. But here's the twist. Despite all this beauty, the green peafowl is fiercely tough. It can outrun predators, defend its territory aggressively, and survive in habitats harsher than most pheasants. Beauty and resilience, dangerous combination. So here's your debate hook. Is the green peafowl a marvel of evolution or the universe showing off? And deeper than that, does a species this stunning stand a chance in a world that keeps shrinking its home? Either way, one thing's certain. When the green peafowl calls, the jungle listens. When it appears, every other color in the forest suddenly feels incomplete. And if you think this emerald monarch is impressive, wait till you meet the next bird. One that trades beauty for boldness and elegance for grit. You ever look at a bird and think, this guy definitely woke up and chose style over everything else? That's the Siamese fireback, Vietnam's national bird of swagger. It doesn't just walk through the forest, it struts. Chest puffed, tail curled, feathers polished like it's heading to a fashion shoot. And that metallic gray-blue coat, smooth, sleek, borderline illegal. Then, bam, That splash of fiery red across the face and legs hits you like a warning sign that says, careful, hot surface. But the real show, that deep violet patch on its back, the fireback. It shines differently depending on the light. Sometimes purple, sometimes electric blue, sometimes almost black. It's like the bird comes with built-in stage lighting. You watch it move and can't help wondering, did nature design this bird or did nature flex? Now here's the twist. Beneath all this glamour, the Siamese fireback is a straight-up brawler. When males compete for territory, things get intense. Wings flare out, spurs click against the ground, and these birds charge each other like armored gladiators. If pheasants had action movies, this species would be the main character. No stunt doubles required, and yet, for all the posturing, it has this unexpectedly soft side. Males call their mates with a sound that's somewhere between a whistle and a distant horn. It's oddly gentle, almost romantic. You hear that echo drifting through Vietnam's lowland forests at sunrise and think, wow, even tough guys get sentimental. But here's your mini debate hook. Is the Siamese fireback truly bold? Or is it one of those creatures that looks dangerous but secretly panics every time a leaf falls behind it? Because let's be honest, there's a fine line between bravery and overconfidence. Either way, this bird represents a piece of Vietnam's natural identity. Resilient, vibrant, proud, and impossible to ignore. And every time a male fans out his tail and displays those glowing colors, it feels like the forest is cheering for him. Still, if you think this bird has attitude, wait until the next one steps in. It trades shimmering violet for clean silver and carries itself like a warrior born under moonlight. You ever see a bird so sharply dressed, it looks like it walks straight out of a black and white luxury commercial? That's the silver pheasant, Vietnam's moonlit warrior. One glance and you understand why. The males look like they're wearing a tailored tuxedo, white cape flowing behind them, black body shimmering with tiny scale-like patterns, and that bright red facial skin that screams, yes, I am the main character. But here's the thing. This elegance isn't delicate. This bird is strong, muscular, built like it could punch through bamboo if it felt like it. When it strides across the forest floor, every step has weight, confident, deliberate, almost knightly. You can hear it thinking, make way, royalty in motion. Now the courtship dance? Oh, you're not ready. The male circles dramatically, tail fanned out like a silver waterfall, wings lowered to create this sweeping, ghost-like silhouette. And with each step, it flicks its long white plumes so gracefully that you forget this is a bird and not some mythical creature rehearsing for a stage performance. Meanwhile, the female stands there, deciding whether she's impressed or bored. No pressure, right? But here comes the twist. Despite the regal appearance, silver pheasants can be absolute troublemakers. Territorial, loud, and completely unafraid to chase rivals with surprising speed. Imagine being elegant, stunning, and still running full sprint at anything that annoys you. Honestly, kind of relatable. And their call? It's more like a metallic clank echoing through the forest. Not exactly the soothing sound you'd expect from such a majestic bird. It's almost comedic. You're mesmerized by the beauty. Then the bird opens its mouth and sounds like someone dropped a spoon in a metal bowl. Here's your debate hook. Is the silver pheasant the perfect mix of beauty and power? Or is it simply a dramatic diva wrapped in fancy feathers? You decide, because every time I see one, I can't tell whether it's preparing for a photo shoot or a sword fight. What we do know is this. When sunlight hits those white plumes, the bird glows like a living lantern moving through the jungle shadows. And that's a sight you don't forget, ever. But hold on. If you think this silver night is striking, the next bird is pure shock value. A flash of red that slices through the forest like a streak of living fire. If the silver pheasant is a knight, then the red-tailed laughingthrush is the forest's undercover celebrity. Loud, colorful, dramatic, and absolutely unbothered by anyone's opinion. One look at it and you already know this bird has personality. Slate gray body, Bright red tail, black mask across the face. It's giving, I came to steal the spotlight. And maybe your snacks. And honestly, it earns that energy. What really sets this bird apart is how social it is. You don't find one red-tailed laughing thrush. You find 15, all moving together like a tiny feathered mob, bouncing through the undergrowth with the chaotic confidence of a family reunion that got too caffeinated. They hop, chatter, argue, and laugh. Yes, laugh, in these sharp, metallic calls that echo across the Vietnamese highlands. Hearing them for the first time is surreal. It's like the forest itself suddenly has jokes. But here's the fun twist. For all that noise and color, this bird is surprisingly hard to spot. It stays low, weaving between leaves and bamboo, moving so fast that your eyes barely catch the flash of red before it's gone. You start doubting yourself. Did I just see that? Or was that a hallucination in bird form? And then suddenly, the whole flock emerges right next to you like, "Oh, were you looking for us?" Their teamwork is incredible. While some forage on the ground, others watch from branches above, calling out warnings or sometimes gossip. You can feel the social complexity, tiny alliances forming, little disputes happening, then everything smoothing out as they all move forward again. It's like watching a soap opera, but with feathers and zero commercial breaks. And here's your debate hook. Are red-tailed laughing thrushes brilliant communicators with deep social intelligence? Or are they just chaotic little comedians who enjoy making noise for noise's sake? Because depending on the day, you'll swear it's one or the other. Still, you can't deny the charm. That flash of red slicing through the green forest. That chorus of metallic laughter drifting through the mist. It makes the mountains feel alive, like the forest is telling its own stories through them. But brace yourself, because the next bird doesn't laugh, shout, or socialize. It moves like a jewel through shadows, glowing from within. If the red-tailed laughing thrush is a noisy flash of red, then the bar-bellied pitta is the opposite, a jewel that moves in silence. You don't see this bird, you discover it. One moment the forest looks empty, and the next this glowing creature steps into a single beam of sunlight like it's entering a sacred stage. Bright yellow belly banded with bold black stripes, emerald back, cobalt blue crown. It's a color combination that shouldn't work, and yet somehow looks like nature's greatest flex. Here's the first thing that hits you. Pittas don't walk. They bounce, little hops one after another, like tiny rubber balls powered by caffeine. And every hop feels intentional, calculating, controlled, almost elegant. You watch it move and think. Is this bird hunting insects, or is it practicing choreography? Honestly, both seem plausible. But the real twist? This pitta is near-endemic to Vietnam, which means this forest isn't just its home, it's its entire universe. And it treats that universe like a puzzle. When it forages, it tilts its head, listens carefully, then strikes the leaf litter with a sharp precision that feels almost mechanical. It's like watching a tiny predator disguised as a luxury ornament. What makes people obsessed with this species is how ridiculously hard it is to find. It stays low, loves thick undergrowth, and blends perfectly with shadowed bamboo. Bird watchers joke that seeing a bar-bellied pitta requires equal parts luck, patience, and the jungle gods being in a good mood. Some spend days looking, then get rewarded with a 3-second glimpse before it hops away like, "That's enough, goodbye." And here's your mini debate hook. Is the bar-bellied pitta rare because it's genuinely secretive? Or do we only think it's rare because it's better at hiding than we are at noticing? In other words, is it endangered or just introverted? Either way, there's something magical about it. When you catch that flash of yellow and blue in the dim forest light, it doesn't feel like spotting a bird. It feels like unlocking a hidden level of the jungle. A reminder that beauty still breathes quietly beneath the leaves. But don't get too comfortable, because the next pitta takes everything colorful about this one and turns it up another level. A quiet gem? No, more like a blue flame flickering in the shadows. There are birds that hide. And then there's the blue-rumped pitta, a creature so secretive, it feels like the jungle invented it just to test your patience. This bird doesn't simply avoid humans. It vanishes before you even think about looking for it. And when it finally appears, for a split second, it hits you with colors so unreal, you question your own eyes. Deep sapphire rump, glowing teal back, soft cinnamon body, and that shadow gray head that gives it this quiet, monk-like mystery. It's like a gemstone wrapped in forest dust. The first thing people notice? The silence. This pitta moves like a whisper. No hopping chorus like the bar-bellied pitta. No chatter, no drama, just a single careful step, then another. Then a sudden freeze as it listens to the leaf litter, like a surgeon listening to a heartbeat. And when it hears something, a worm shifting, an insect shuffling, it strikes with deadly speed. You blink, and the moment is already over. Now here's the twist. For a bird so stunning, it spends 99% of its life in darkness. Thick bamboo, cavernous ravines, shadowed undergrowth where even sunlight needs an appointment to enter. You'd expect a bird this colorful to show off. Not this one. It treats its beauty like a secret, something earned, not given. And here's the part that always gets people talking. The blue-rumped pitta has this call, a haunting two-note whistle that echoes through the forest like a flute played from underwater. It's beautiful, eerie, and impossible to locate. The sound comes from nowhere and everywhere. Birdwatchers hear it and always think the same thought. It's close. Spoiler, it's not. It's already watching you from a completely different direction, probably judging your tracking skills. So here's your mini debate hook. Is the blue-rumped pitta the ultimate master of stealth, or just a shy diva refusing to participate in the jungle spotlight? Because let's be honest, if you were this gorgeous, would you hide or would you flex? What's undeniable is this. Spotting one feels like a reward, not just for searching, but for slowing down, listening, and letting the forest reveal itself on its own terms. Few birds remind you of the jungle's patience like this one, but don't get too comfortable with shadows. The next bird brings the blue back, but with attitude, less ghost, more electric flame. If the blue-rumped pitta is a secret whispered in the dark, then the blue pitta is a spotlight, a burst of electric color that looks like it escaped from a digital painting. The first time you see one, your brain actually hesitates. Bright cobalt head, orange belly, neon yellow spots across its sides, and that deep midnight blue back that seems to glow even without sunlight. You catch yourself thinking, there's no way this is a real animal, but it is, and it knows exactly how good it looks. This bird doesn't do subtle, it walks out onto the forest floor like it owns the land deed. Head high, posture sharp, moving with a confidence that screams, yes, stare, I'm worth it. And when it hops, smooth, precise, almost theatrical. You can practically hear a soundtrack playing behind it. But here's where the contradiction hits. Despite being one of the most visually stunning pittas on Earth, the blue pitta is unbelievably shy. It's like a celebrity that hates red carpets. It will appear for 3 seconds, pose perfectly, then vanish into a bamboo wall like it slipped through another dimension. Half the time, you're not even sure it was real. Your eyes caught a flash, your camera missed it, and now you're left arguing with yourself. Did I just imagine that? Am I hallucinating birds now? Here's the twist. This bird is a near-endemic gem of Indo-China, and Vietnam is one of its strongholds. It thrives in humid forest floors, where it hunts quietly, listening for tiny movements under leaves. When a worm twitches, it reacts instantly. A rapid strike, a victory hop, and then back to that regal posture like nothing happened. It's elegance with a predator's edge. And here's something that always makes people smile. The blue pitta has a call that sounds like a soft falling whistle, gentle, melodic, almost childlike. But don't be fooled. That sweet sound can travel through dense jungle, letting other pittas know exactly who's in charge. It's a lullaby with attitude. So here's your mini debate hook. Is the blue pitta the rainforest supermodel, hiding out of humility or out of mischief. Because let's be honest, it disappears way too perfectly for it to be accidental. What we do know is this: every time that flash of blue crosses the forest floor, it feels like magic. Not metaphorical magic, literal, pause the world, breathe slowly, and watch magic. And trust me, if the blue pitta feels unreal, the next bird will challenge everything you think you know about size, grace, and survival. If the blue pitta is a flash of magic on the forest floor, then the Sarus crane is the opposite, a towering monument of elegance rising straight out of Vietnam's wetlands. The first thing you notice isn't the size, though yes, this bird is huge, the tallest flying bird on Earth. What really gets you are those eyes, deep, burning red, not angry, not wild, more like ancient, like it remembers things the land has forgotten. And the moment it begins to walk, time slows down. Long gray legs moving with impossible grace, wings held low, neck stretched tall like a dancer balancing the sky on its head. You almost feel rude watching, as if you've just stepped into someone's sacred ritual. But here's the twist. For such a calm-looking bird, the Sarus crane is a complete romantic. These birds mate for life, and their courtship dance is one of the most astonishing things you'll ever see. Two cranes facing each other, bowing, leaping, spinning, trumpeting. It's not just a dance, it's a celebration of being alive. You hear those loud, echoing calls rolling across the wetlands like a pair of ancient horns, and you think, okay, love in bird form might actually be real. And yet, life isn't easy for them. The Sarus crane is listed as vulnerable. Wetlands shrink, droughts spread, human noise breaks the silence they depend on. Sometimes only a few individuals return to certain sites each year, and when that happens, local villagers treat their arrival like a national holiday. Because it is. Imagine waiting a whole year, hoping the cranes will trust your land enough to come back. Some years they do, some years they don't. Here's something people rarely expect. For all their size and elegance, Sarus cranes are incredibly emotional. When one member of a pair dies, the other sometimes wanders alone for years, calling into the empty wetland as if trying to bring their partner back. It's heartbreaking and beautiful and very, very real. So here's your mini debate hook. Does a bird like this survive because of its strength, or because people finally realize they can't afford to lose something so irreplaceable? And deeper still, can a species this gentle endure in a world that isn't? Because when the Sarus crane spreads its wings and lifts slowly into the sky, you feel the weight of what's at stake. You feel the silence it leaves behind. And trust me, if you think this bird is impressive, wait until you meet the next one. A creature so rare it feels less like wildlife and more like a myth that learned how to walk. Some birds are rare, some birds are legendary, and then there's the giant ibis, a creature so scarce, so ancient looking, so improbably huge that seeing one feels like meeting a survivor from another timeline. This isn't just Vietnam's rarest bird. It's one of the rarest birds on the entire planet. Fewer than a few hundred remain. And yet, when it steps out of the swamp, you can't help whispering, "Whoa, that's a real animal?" Picture it. Towering legs, massive curved bill, charcoal feathers dusted with silver, and those deep, tired eyes that look like they've witnessed centuries of storms, wars, droughts, and still decided, yeah, I'm staying. The giant ibis doesn't move quickly. It moves with the solemn weight of something that knows the world has changed, and not in its favor. Here's the surprising part. For all its size, the giant ibis is unbelievably shy. It avoids human presence like humans are the jump scare in its movie. At the slightest disturbance, it stretches that long neck, freezes, then melts back into the forest like a shadow retreating from dawn. It's a giant ghost, a contradiction that shouldn't make sense, but somehow does. Now here's where the twist hits hard. This bird is critically endangered, pushed to the edge by habitat loss and climate chaos. During harsh dry seasons, wetlands shrink to mud, food vanishes, and the ibis wanders great distances, searching for any patch of water that can keep it alive one more year. You can almost feel the tension in those slow, deliberate steps. Like every journey is a gamble. But the part that gets everyone? The sound. The giant ibis has one of the strangest, most haunting calls in the bird world. A low, guttural croak that rises from the throat like an old instrument with a broken reed. It's eerie, raw, ancient. You hear it echo across a dark swamp and think, is that dinosaur energy? Yes. Yes, it is. So here's your mini debate hook. Does the giant ibis survive because it's incredibly tough, or because it remains a ghost we almost never find? And more importantly, if the world loses this bird, does it lose something bigger than just a species? Because when the giant ibis opens its wings and lifts heavily into the sky, it doesn't look like flight. It looks like history trying to escape extinction. And now, get ready. The next bird doesn't lumber quietly through swamps. It explodes off the water like a missile covered in white fire. There are birds that glide gently across calm ponds. And then there's the white-winged duck, a creature that launches itself off the water like it's trying to break the sound barrier. You hear the splash first, then a blur of black, white, and sheer panic shoots upward, wings flashing like lightning through the swamp. It's chaotic, loud, dramatic, and somehow still majestic. That's the charm of this rare endangered duck. Nothing about it is subtle. The first thing you notice up close is the contrast. A dark, soot-black body and those bright white wings that look painted on. When it lifts off, the wings flare open and boom. It becomes this living monochrome explosion against the deep green of Vietnam's wetlands. For a split second, you forget you're watching a duck. It feels more like a myth roaring into the sky. But here's the twist. Despite its explosive personality, the white-winged duck is incredibly shy, painfully shy. It lives in remote forest pools far from humans, hiding under tangled swamp vegetation like it's in witness protection. A single snapped twig can send it blasting away with all the grace of a rocket launched sideways. You almost want to tell it, relax, it's just a camera. This species is endangered, and Vietnam holds some of the last hopes for its survival. And its behavior shows it knows the stakes. During the day, it stays hidden, silent. At dusk, it emerges to feed, slow, careful, dipping its bill into the dark water as dragonflies buzz overhead. It feels like watching a secret ceremony, one that's been repeated for centuries and could end any year now. But here's something people rarely expect. For all its solitary habits, the white-winged duck has a surprisingly gentle side. Males give these soft, low grunts, almost like a muffled purr, to call their mates. And when a pair glides across the swamp together, wings tucked tight, their reflections stretch across the water like twin shadows. It's calm, peaceful, almost cinematic. Now here's your mini debate hook. Is the white-winged duck rare because it's naturally elusive, or because humans simply took too much of its world too quickly? And another question, if a species this dramatic disappears, do we even understand what we're losing? Because when those white wings blaze open and the bird shoots skyward, it feels like a warning flare from the jungle itself. And trust me, the next bird doesn't hide in swamps or fear splashes. It rules the canopy with a beak that looks like it was carved out of the sun. When people talk about big bird, they usually imagine eagles, cranes, maybe a stork or two. But then the great hornbill shows up and politely says, "Move." I'm the headline. This thing isn't just large, it looks mythic. Black and white wings that span wider than your outstretched arms. A massive yellow beak curved like an ancient blade. And that enormous casque on top that makes you wonder, did this bird accidentally swallow a helmet? The moment it takes flight, the entire forest hears it. Not figuratively, literally hears it. Each wing beat sounds like someone swinging a giant leather fan through the air. Whoom! 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 You don't have to find the hornbill. It announces its entrance like a celebrity who refuses to use the side door. But here's the twist. Despite this intimidating look, the great hornbill is a gentle giant. Its diet? Mostly fruits. Yes, a bird with a weaponized head that could star in an action movie spends its days eating figs. Lots and lots of figs. It hops between giant trees in Vietnam's forests like a fruit critic searching for the perfect bite. And when it finds one, it likes. It tosses the fruit into the air and catches it with dramatic flair. This bird doesn't chew, it performs. Then comes the wildest behavior of all, the nesting ritual. When the female enters a tree cavity to lay eggs, she seals herself inside with mud and droppings, leaving only a narrow slit, a self-imposed quarantine that lasts weeks. The male then feeds her through that slit every single day. Loyalty, dedication, or just extreme commitment issues? Up to you. And here's your debate hook. Is the great hornbill the ultimate symbol of devotion or the world's most dramatic family man? Because honestly, sealing your partner in a tree and hand-feeding her is either the sweetest love story ever or the plot of a very strange reality show. But one thing is undeniable. Seeing this bird glide across the canopy, wings glowing gold against the sun, reminds you why ancient cultures worshipped it. It's not just big, it's not just loud, it's iconic. And if you think a beak like that is impressive, the next bird brings a face so strange, so expressive, it almost doesn't look real. You ever see a bird so strangely designed that your brain does a double take before deciding it's real? That's the black-faced spoonbill, a creature that looks like someone took a normal bird, then replaced its beak with a kitchen utensil. Long white body, elegant wings, and then, bam, this flat spoon-shaped bill swinging around like it's ready to stir soup in the wetlands of Vietnam. It's weird, it's wonderful, and somehow, it works beautifully. The first time you watch one feed, you finally understand why evolution stuck with the spoon idea. The bird steps into shallow water, lowers that black paddle, and sweeps it left and right in these smooth, rhythmic motions. And every few sweeps, snap, it catches a fish, a shrimp, something unlucky. It's like watching a metronome that suddenly decides to eat. But here comes the twist. This bird is endangered and globally rare. Only a few thousand remain on the entire planet. Think about that. More people fit inside a movie theater than there are black-faced spoonbills alive today. Vietnam is one of the places they still return to during migration, touching down like little white ghosts drifting across coastal lagoons. And here's the part most people don't expect. Despite that odd face, this bird is surprisingly expressive. When a spoonbill gets annoyed, it lifts its wings, jerks its neck, and gives this low grunt that sounds like a disgruntled old man waking up from a nap. Meanwhile, the others stand around like, dude, calm down, it's just a crab. The social dynamics, comedy gold. Their group behavior is fascinating. They feed in synchronized lines, marching through the water like a coordinated foraging brigade. One sweeps left, the next sweeps right, and the whole group slowly drifts forward like feathered windshield wipers. And it's effective. Teamwork designed by pure instinct. So here's your mini debate hook. Is the spoonbill's bizarre beak a masterpiece of evolution, or just proof that nature sometimes gets creative in the weirdest ways possible? Because honestly, it shouldn't work this well. But it does, perfectly. And when these birds take off, wings blazing white against the rising tide, the world suddenly feels a little quieter, a little purer. You realize you're watching one of the rarest sights left on Earth. But don't blink, because the next bird doesn't glide in silence. It crashes into the forest with colors so sharp, they look radioactive. Some birds look colorful. This one looks illegal. The Indo-Chinese green magpie is so neon, so radioactive looking, so aggressively green, that when you first see it, your brain freezes and goes, nope, that's a glitch. Bright emerald body, electric blue wings, fire red beak, black mask across the eyes like a tiny jungle bandit. It's the kind of bird that doesn't blend into the forest. It attacks your vision, and it has the attitude to match. This magpie doesn't quietly hop around like other forest birds. No, It charges through the jungle with chaotic confidence, leaping, screeching, flicking its long tail like it's conducting an orchestra only it can hear. Everything it does is dramatic. Even the way it lands looks like it's trying to impress a crowd. But here's the twist. Behind all that flash, the Indo-Chinese green magpie is a highly intelligent predator. It hunts insects, frogs, lizards, even raids nests with a level of precision that would make a thief jealous. If you ever wondered what a mastermind bird looks like, this is it. It moves fast, thinks fast, and has zero hesitation stealing whatever it finds valuable. It's bold, but also weirdly efficient. And here's something even stranger. That neon green color? It's not born that way. Young birds start off dull and brownish. Only when they reach maturity and eat the right carotenoid-rich diet do they transform into the full, glowing, highlighter green adults. It's like the jungle version of leveling up. A boring little bird evolves into a rainforest superhero. Now here's your mini debate hook. Is the Indo-Chinese green magpie a misunderstood genius using color as intimidation? Or a feathered troublemaker who enjoys chaos a little too much? Because depending on when you see it, it can look like a guardian of the forest, or a tiny criminal fleeing the scene of a crime. But one thing's for sure, when that streak of green bolts through the canopy, it feels like someone turned up the saturation on reality. It's impossible not to stare, impossible not to smile, impossible not to want to see it again. And if you think this bird is a color explosion, the next one looks like a fairy decided to grow feathers and take flight. Some birds are beautiful, and then the Asian fairy-bluebird shows up and makes the entire forest look underdressed. This species doesn't just shine, it glows. The male is draped in deep velvet blue, so rich it looks liquid, with black wings that shimmer like polished obsidian. When sunlight cuts through the canopy and hits its feathers, the bird doesn't reflect light, it radiates it. You look up and think, okay, that's definitely not a normal animal. That's a fairy wearing a bird costume. But the attitude, even better. The Asian fairy-bluebird moves through the treetops like it's floating. Slow, smooth wing beats, a soft glide, then a sudden hover as it plucks a fruit with the elegance of someone choosing fine jewelry. You could swear this bird knows how beautiful it is, the way it pauses on a branch, the way it tilts its head, the way it lets that blue coat catch the sun. It's practically posing for a magazine cover. And then comes the twist. For all its dreamlike beauty, this species has a wild side. Its call is this sharp metallic chook that shatters the forest calm like someone just dropped a pan in a quiet kitchen. You hear the call first and expect a tough-looking bird to appear, but instead you get this glowing blue angel. It's hilarious. The jungle's prettiest singer has the voice of a broken car horn. Behavior-wise, the fairy-bluebird is surprisingly bold. It defends fruit trees like a tiny bouncer, denying entry to anyone without an invitation. Other birds try to sneak in. Nope. The bluebird swoops down, wings spread, screaming like it just caught someone touching its private stash. And here's your mini debate hook. Is the Asian fairy-bluebird the forest's fashion icon? Or is it secretly a diva with serious attitude issues? Because depending on the day, it can look like a gentle spirit or a cranky supermodel having a bad morning. But here's the part that stays with you. When the male sits quietly beside his mate, the contrast is astonishing. The female is warm, olive green, subtle, earthy, calm, like the forest itself. Together, they're color theory perfection. Light and shadow, jewel and leaf, fairy and forest. And if you think a glowing bluebird is peak fantasy, wait until the next creature hops onto the branch. It's small, yellow, spiky, and looks like it's wearing a royal crown. Some birds are cute, some birds are elegant, and then there's the Sultan tit, the bird that wakes up every morning, spikes its neon yellow crest straight into the air, and basically says, "Yes, I am the ruler here." That outrageous crown isn't subtle. It's not modest. It's not trying to blend in. It's loud, proud, and glowing like a tiny sunburst bouncing through the Vietnamese canopy. And the moment you see it, you get the name. Other birds have crests. This bird has a statement piece, a fashion declaration, an attitude. The black body only makes the yellow explode even harder, like a spotlight following the bird wherever it goes. If birds had royalty, the Sultan tit would be the royal teenager, rebellious, flashy, and fully aware that it's cooler than everyone else. But here's the twist. Despite the punk rock hairstyle, the Sultan tit is incredibly coordinated and social. It forms these fast-moving flocks that zip through the treetops like swirling black and gold comets. One minute the forest is silent, and then suddenly a whole squad of these crowned birds burst through the branches, chattering like a gang of woodland celebrities. Their energy is ridiculous. They flip between branches, hang upside down, spring forward, sometimes doing 3 moves before your brain even processes the first one. Watching them is like watching hyperactive gymnasts rehearsing for a tiny Olympic event only they know about. And then there's that soft, buzzy call, a kind of enthusiastic tsi-tsi-tsi that comes in bursts like excited laughter. You hear it echoing through the forest, and you instantly know something adorable and chaotic is coming your way. Now here's your mini debate hook. Is the Sultan tit's crest a symbol of confidence, or is it overcompensation by the smallest show-off in the forest? Because honestly, if I had a mohawk that bright, I'd strut a little too. But don't underestimate this species. Beneath the style is a tough little bird that thrives in mountainous forests, moving non-stop in search of insects. Work ethic hidden behind glamour, a classic combination. Still, the moment it lands on a branch, crest blazing like a crown under sunlight, you can't help but smile. It's one of those rare birds that feels like pure joy in motion. And if you think a crowned gymnast bird is wild, the next creature slows everything down. A red-headed shadow, sitting perfectly still, waiting in the dim forest light for the world to reveal itself. Some birds rush through the forest like sparks. The red-headed trogon is not one of them. This bird doesn't move fast. It doesn't shout. It doesn't show off. It just exists, calmly, quietly, beautifully, like a painting that learned how to breathe. You see it before you hear it. A deep crimson head glowing like a lantern in the dim undergrowth, a rich chestnut back, a soft pinkish belly, and that elegant silver-gray tail hanging perfectly still. The red-headed trogon doesn't hop. It doesn't strut. It perches, unmoving, as if the forest itself told it, hold this pose. And somehow, it becomes the most mesmerizing thing in the entire jungle. This bird operates on its own time. While everything else in the Vietnamese rainforest buzzes, flutters, leaps, calls, whistles, the trogon sits there, blinking slowly, watching the world unfold. Every movement is deliberate. Every turn of the head feels thoughtful. You can almost hear its inner monologue. Interesting bug. I might eat that, eventually. But here's the twist. That calm behavior hides a stealthy hunter. When it spots prey, the trogon drops from its perch like a silent red arrow. No hesitation, no noise, just one precise swoop, one perfect strike. Then just as quietly, it returns to its branch, resumes its statue mode, and pretends nothing happened. If birds played ninja roles, this would be the lead actor. And there's something else. The red-headed trogon has one of the softest, most haunting calls in the forest. A low, resonant hoo, hoo, hoo that drifts through valleys like a gentle heartbeat. It's not loud, it's not meant to be. It sounds like a secret being whispered to the trees. Now here's your mini debate hook. Is the red-headed trogon calm because it's wise, or because it's too relaxed to care about anything? Is this sin, or is this laziness wrapped in feathers? I'll let you decide, but one thing is certain. When sunlight slips through the canopy and catches that red head, the whole forest seems to glow with it. It's a final reminder at the end of our journey that not all rare birds are loud or luminous. Some are quiet miracles, content to simply be beautiful. 20 birds, 20 miracles, And somehow, Vietnam's jungles still feel like they're hiding more. More colors, more shadows, more stories waiting under the leaves. As we followed each wing, from the glowing pittas to the ancient giant ibis, to the quiet trogon holding its pose in the dark, one thing became clear. These forests aren't just alive, they're breathing. Every call, every feather, every echo between the trees is a reminder that the wild isn't gone. Not yet, but it's fragile. Every season gets harder, every habitat gets smaller, and every rare bird walks a thinner line between survival and memory. And maybe that's why their beauty hits us so deeply, because we know it's a beauty we could lose. So here's the real question. After everything you've seen tonight, which bird stayed with you? The diva, the fighter, the ghost, or the quiet one that barely moved, but still stole the whole show? Tell me in the comments, because the more we talk about these creatures, the more reason the world has to keep them alive. And remember, in Vietnam's jungles, the wild still has wings. You just have to look